Am I audible? Yes. So, thank you so much. And thanks, Dr. Joyita, for the excellent start. So, before we start the session, just a quick warm-up that we would want to do. So, if you look at it, what I have named it here is design thinking is your best friend. Okay. While Dr. Joyita has been talking about that it is a lot of hard tools, processes, but if you ask me, design thinking is a lot softer here rather than these tools and processes that we go through. So before we start our, we'll just wait for this disruption to kind of settle down. Dr. Joyita, we're just waiting for the disruption to settle down. Okay, done. So before we start, what do we quickly do a warm up on so that we know each other slightly better. I know the students would know each other really better because you're staying together for some time, but these dignitaries here, a lot of them are aliens to each other. So we'll do that first. So a quick activity for all of you. Just think on it, reflect on it, and then do it. So I give you 3 things that you have to work on. You all have a first name? Yes or no? Yes. You all have a second name? Yes. You all have a personality? Yes. Connect all the 3, create a story. Connect all the 3, create a story, and then you have to narrate it to the person sitting next to you. I totally give you 3 minutes for it. Start. Think of it and start. Guys, you have to start thinking and doing, because design thinking talks a lot about bias towards action, right? Even if you know each other, there can be a different perspective that you can bring through it because it's a story of you that you want to kind of narrate. Quickly need to find a partner for yourself. You both are partners. You can do it. And if anyone who doesn't have a partner, I'm here to listen to your story. Did you ever think that your first name, last name, and personality could ever have a connect between each other and you could create a story out of it? But it does. It does. I'll give you my story here. Quickly, I'll just give you my story. So my name is Ajay Agarwal. The way I see it, Ajay means undefeatable. Agarwal is a Bania surname. And Banias are known for certain traits. So I have both of them in me. Banias are known for making money. I am making money for KPMG. Right? I am. And Ajay is undefeatable. So gone through a lot of stuff, but I've still stood up again and delivered. So that's how your name can connect to your personality. It's as simple as that. But you have to reflect and think on it. So guys, all of you kind of warmed up now? Yes? So when Dr. Joyita invited me for this event almost a month ago, I had been thinking of what do I want to do as a keynote here. What would be that one change that I would want to bring in guys here? What is that one thing that I want you to take back? And guys, to tell you, till almost yesterday, I did not have an answer. Till yesterday, I was stressed about it. That's how it was. Okay, I mean, standing in front of 200 odd students, these people are still okay for me. Those are the people who are more, who I kind of want to live up to because I have gone through that life once in my life. So yesterday I kind of figured it out that I would want to leave you with one change that I felt the most when I embarked on my design thinking journey almost 2 years back, which is how is it touching human lives? How does design thinking touch human lives? And that is what drives me towards design thinking. That is what has driven me towards the entire field, apart from all the qualifications. But this is what drives me today also. And that is what I want you to experience, and that's what I want you to change within yourself. Okay. So while I'll just quickly give you, because we all believe in some format structures, I'll just quickly give you what are the secret tools of a designer. We all work towards these 4 tools majorly. We would empathize, we would want to understand humans better. We would ideate, bring out that creative bent, creative stuff that we would want to have. We would also be prototyping stuff. A lot of times we all struggle with one thing, that can we take half-baked solutions to customers? How many of you think that we can take? People who think that they can take, guys, you're already on a design thinking journey, please understand. And if you think that you cannot take 40-50% baked solutions to customers, you're far away, still far away, right? And that's what we call prototyping. And the last part which we talk about, after doing all of this, you still screw up because you're not able to tell excellent stories. Because you're not able to tell excellent stories, and we all have to learn. The reason why I say so, because whatever data, whatever stuff we throw, everything connects here. Stories connect here. And if you're able to connect with someone here, you will make him go above his analytical thinking, into his emotional thinking, and you can make someone do whatever you want to if he is in that frame of mind. So in this session, what we're going to do is, and I want to leave you with, is empathy. That's what I want you to kind of take back from here. And we'll quickly experience empathy in the next 15 minutes. We'll experience empathy happening, we'll experience it. Okay, so what do I want you to do is, all of you have a paper with you, a blank paper. Quickly, if you can just get it out, and a pen, pencil, whatever, some instrument to write. Everyone has to do it. Guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be an excellent experience that you're going to go through. Everyone should be having it. And if someone doesn't have it, there are people who are supplying this to you. You can just call for it. Dr. Hegde, if you can also have one. Guys, someone, if you can give a paper to Dr. Hegde here. Sorry? You can, no, not on the phones, on the paper. Only paper. Phones पे कर नहीं पाओगे. Phones पे कर नहीं पाओगे जो मैं बोलूँगा वो. Quickly, just get a paper. Even if it is stone, it is fine. That's okay, you can just take it. All of you have a paper? Give me a big yes, first of all. All of you have a paper? Great, guys. So, what do we now do is, everyone, so first of all of you need to have your partners. All of you have a partner with you? Yes? Dr. Hegde does not have one, and we have one more person here, so if you can both kind of partner. Okay, you both are partnering? Okay, all of you should have a partner. If you do not have, please find one. Yeah, shift ho jao itni jaldi. Okay, done. So now what do we need to do is, first of all, one person will do it. The other person will, just listen to me. So the one person, the first person A, let's name the person A. The first person is going to think of the most emotional moment of his life. Okay? Think of it. What you have to then do is, you have to draw, you have to sketch the most emotional moment of your life. Person B, what do you do when the person A is sketching? You should just observe. You have to observe the person, you have to observe what is he drawing. Okay? Just observe. Okay? And later what we would do is, story will unfold. But just do this much. I totally give you 3 minutes to do this. Shoot. Just decide who's person A, who's person B, and shoot. And guys, whosoever is not attempting it, I'm telling you, you're missing something. First of all, you're challenging your sketching skills. That's the first thing that I'm kind of gathering. I'll just repeat it once again. So, person A first thinks of the most emotional moment of his life, and you have to sketch it out. Person B, when the person is sketching, you look at him, you look at the sketch, and just try and see whatever is happening. Okay? I'm hopeful all the students are also doing it there. Students, give me a yes. Yes. Great. We'll come to it. Okay. All of you have done this? The person A has already done? Yes or no? Yes, great. Okay, person B, you've observed something? Yes? What you now do is, you pick up the picture from person A, look at the picture, close your eyes after that, put your hand on the picture, and just imagine what is the story that the person was saying. Pick up the picture, just have a look at it, then close your eyes, put your hand on the picture, and imagine what the story the person is narrating. If you do it with the closed eyes and with your hands on the picture, you have to close your eyes and do it. You know, there's a challenge with us nowadays that we concentrate more on verbal communication rather than the instincts that God has given us. We can figure out a lot of things without saying and without looking, but we don't use them now. And that's what I want you to do. Okay, done? Now, the person B has to just narrate the story that he thought of, that the person has kind of narrated in the picture. Narrate. Yes, the person that you imagined a story, right? What the story is all about, just narrate it. And guys, person A, don't judge it. Whatever they are saying, just listen to it. That's it. Person A, don't judge it. Just listen to the story, whatever the person is saying. Done, everyone? Yes? Completed this part? I think people are too engrossed in it right now. So good one. Yes. So come back. All of you done with this first part? Let's do a role reversal. Let's do a role reversal. We will not spare the person B. Right? We will not spare the person B. So person B, you think of the most emotional moment of your life. Picture it out. Person A observes, will then pick up the sheet, close your eyes, look at the paper, close your eyes, put a hand on the paper and imagine the story. That's why we're going to reverse it. So just 3 minutes to first quickly do your story, emotional moment sketching. Do it. Person B. And person A has to look at the person, look at the sketch, just observe what is happening. Okay, if you are done, the person A can just simply take the sheet, observe it, feel it by closing his eyes and putting a hand on the paper, and then narrate whatever you interpreted. But do it actually, just close your eyes, feel it. Okay guys, done? Yes? Done everyone? Great, so just come back now, just see, look here. This is an interesting thing that you've done actually, if you see. Okay, I'll wait. Yes, so if if you look at it, there's an interesting thing that you've done. Let's quickly just understand what you've done. So I'll just ask a few questions. When the person who was observing, okay, and looking at the person drawing, his expressions, the way he was changing his drawing and all these things happening. If someone can just tell me what was going through your mind and what journey did you go through at that point in time? Can I have a mic, please? I'll have it here.
It's kind of a curiosity what the other person is trying to do, and observing and giving me some kind of ideas, trying to take cues from the picture, what she is trying to say through the picture. Some kind of curiosity is working inside my mind.
Done? Good. Yes? There's a lady in the second row.
Okay, so the thing is that when I was drawing, the entire event came back to my mind and I got emotional. It really made me teary-eyed too. That's it.
Great. Yes? The gentleman here.
I think if you immerse yourself in that experience that the other individual is trying to visualize, you're able to empathize a lot more, right? If you're in that whole journey instead of just that specific moment. And ultimately, I think your last step was to have a conversation, right? So it really opens up and we start discussing, especially if I have been through the same thing as she has, which coincidentally we had, and so we were able to relate better.
Sure, great. Someone from the students, I think these people still, okay, I want someone from the students to kind of speak up. Guys, can we have some mic there? Any students who want to kind of volunteer? Yes.
So
Your bright face here. Yes, great, good one.
So basically when he was drawing and I was putting myself in his shoes and I was thinking that what he might be drawing, the curiosity was there, and when he had drawn it completely, I got to know that this already has happened with me as well, because he himself is living in the hostel alone and away from his family. So that was one of the most emotional moments which he is facing, and the same with me.
So what you're talking about is while he was drawing and you were observing, you went through your own journey.
Exactly, lots of thoughts came into my mind.
Which could relate to
Correct,
him.
yeah.
Yes, anyone else? One last one that we'll take and then we'll quickly... Yes.
What I could relate to while sir was drawing, that your personality is an extension of your preference. I don't know if it sounds too complicated.
Yes, it does. It's coming from a faculty, it does.
But what I could see, his interest area are evident in his personality, and what he has painted or drawn here is his interest area. I mean, what he really likes. And I know about his association with whatever he has written actually, or drawn, sorry. So I could see his personality, how this personality has transformed into what he is today, because he liked something in the past, his preference in the past. That's how I could connect.
Sure, if I tell you, I have seen 3 observations here, if I quickly tell you. So I saw 2 people who know each other really well. They have been working together. There's one set of comfort that they already have. I saw 2 people here who are meeting for the first time and doing this activity. They were still able to gather something out of the entire thing. And I saw some students who have been living together, maybe in the same room in the hostel, and they could kind of do this. So if you understand what we are trying to do here, or what I'm trying to give back to you through this is that while we all think and we all kind of look at empathy as a tool to interact and get things out of a customer or a user, it is way more than talking. It's beyond talking, and it's feeling. And if you looked at it, we as humans are born with it, but what we've done is we have kind of screwed up that entire skill, and we more focus on tu kya bol raha hai wo sun lu main, and I'll try and jot down all the needs. What you need to focus on is that what your user, and you can do some such activities which you can make you feel the user's journey, and this is one of them. We use it at KPMG a lot between, if you look at the when appraisals come in, the manager subordinate relationship, we do all these activities there a lot in KPMG. So KPMG embarked on its design thinking journey almost 2 years back, and we were in a similar state of what a lot of organizations have been. When I took this concept to KPMG for the first time, and I took it to my partner saying that I want to do design thinking, they said, KPMG already has a design team, which does all the poster design, marketing, material design, what different would you do? right? And from there, we've today moved to a journey wherein we have slowly and steadily embarking or kind of embedding small concept of design. So we call it micro practices of design thinking itself. It may not be the whole design thinking that you embrace, but you can embrace small practices from it to kind of embed it in your life. And guys, that's where the change will happen. If you're thinking of it like a process, and that's what a lot of companies are mistaking it as, that it is a hard-jacketed process. Ye step follow karunga, ye step follow karunga, ye step follow karunga. I follow this step, I'll be able to reach to the destination. While that has happened, but unless and until you get it here and here, things are not going to change. Okay, so if you've experienced this, I'll take you to a story of how design thinking has made a change in someone's life. Okay, and for that, I all want you to extend your hands like this. All of you extend your hands like this. Everyone does it. Extend your hands like this. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. If I say there's something that you want to have in these hands, there's something that you would want to have, and everyone close your eyes. There's something that you would want to have in these hands. Okay? Just imagine that. As I'm hearing someone says power. Anyways, you come to corporate and you will have a lot of people saying that. Okay, open your eyes. Yes. So quickly, what did you imagine? Quickly, anyone who wants to comment. Healthy people across the globe, so you want that power, you want that in your hand. What else? Money. Sunshine, money. Great. Everyone wants it. I also do. Vegan Agarwal, I also want that. Anyways, what if I tell you that you have this life in your hand? What if I tell you that you have this life in your hand? Oh, very good. That's great. Oh. Okay, and what if I tell you that this life is going to die soon? What if I tell you this life is going to die soon? Precisely, that's the problem a few Stanford students tried to solve. There were over 2 million babies. There were 2 million babies dying every year in developing countries because they were premature and they could not sustain the body mass that they need to have in the body to maintain the body temperature. And that's the problem that those design thinkers, they tried to solve. And that's one trait of a design thinker, that you're problem finders. You will find a problem for yourself and you'll try to solve something for it so that you create a larger impact. And let's see what did they do. Let's see what did they do.
As I watch my child sleep, I feel a sense of inner peace. I will do everything to protect him, and I want to always be there to give him unconditional love.
Every day, he teaches me something new, and together, we share many special moments.
But the day my child was born, the only thing I wanted was to help her live.
One of the biggest problems these babies face is staying warm. This is the primary function of an incubator, but traditional incubators cost thousands of dollars and require electricity. Parents in rural areas resort to desperate measures to care for their babies, including tying hot water bottles around the babies, placing them under light bulbs, or holding them over hot coals. The Embrace Infant Warmer is a simple solution to this problem. Embrace consists of 3 parts: a sleeping bag, a heater, and a pouch of phase change material. Once heated, the phase change material is placed into a compartment in the sleeping bag and can maintain a constant temperature of 37 degrees Celsius or 98 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 4 to 6 hours. The product stays warm without electricity. It is safe to use, easy to clean, portable, and allows close mother-to-child interaction. Embrace's mission is to give every infant a chance for a healthy life. Every child deserves the opportunity to live, to grow, to dream.
So, just to tell you what happened. These students were given a task to design an incubator which was right now costing somewhere around $20,000 to design something which is less than $250. I think $200. Now there's two approaches to it. An engineer's approach would be straight away start working on the technology part of it and try and see if we can bring it down to $200. What did they do? They said we would want to take a different route. They visited countries like India, Nepal, because those are the countries which represent developing nations, and that's where the most of the deaths were happening. And they did an empathy study. Now what they figured out from those empathy studies was the primary challenge, while those $20,000 to $200 still remains, but the first challenge that they figured out was that most of these premature babies that are dying are in villages and tier 2, tier 3 towns, cities in India. Okay. Now, when the kids are born, when they're taken to the tier 1 cities where most of the incubators are there, before the child reaches there, they die. So the challenge is not of the money, first primary challenge, the challenge is of the reach. That somewhere the incubator, we have to make something which the children do not have to reach the incubator, but the incubator reaches the children. Challenge changed. Challenge changed. Power of empathy is what I'm trying to tell you. Second, what they figured out is that in these villages, electricity is on and off. You do not get full-time electricity. So the challenge was no more about $200. The challenge was more about how can we have an incubator which does not run on electricity. That's where they built this, which runs on a wax plate. And once you kind of warm up the wax plate, it remains warm for at least 3 to 4 hours. And by that time, at least the child can be taken to a incubator, a formal incubator. And this today costs $25. $200 is too far. $25. That is how empathy changes lives. That's how empathy changes life. And that's what I want you to think about and reflect upon. Empathy is more felt than said, more imagined than viewed. Okay? This is a picture of how organizations have been using it. And now this has become a social enterprise. The enterprise name is Embrace. Do read their story, guys. It is an inspiring and amazing story. Do read their story. You will get inspired by it. I have got inspired by it multiple times. You will also get it. And the final thing before I end this session, I'm just coming to the last part, and before, if you have any questions, you can definitely ask it. Before I end the session, I just want to leave you with one thought. When design thinking happened to me almost 2 years back, you know, a lot of people say that it's an old thing in a new bottle. All of this is there. It has been an old, but what has happened is that whatever instincts we have been born with, they have got killed. We have ourselves have killed it, right? And it helps you evolve that further. That's what it is. Whether it's an old thing or a new thing, but you embrace it, you will get benefited out of it. You don't embrace it. I know I'm sounding like Sadhguru, but that's how it is, right? Okay, so I just want to leave you with one thought which came to me when I embarked on my design thinking journey. And the whole thing is, and Margaret, you will not understand it, but let me just narrate it and someone can interpret it for her. It's basically, it says, "ऐ मुश्किलो तुम्हें ज़रा देर हुई, ऐ मुश्किलो तुम्हें ज़रा देर हुई, अब तो गिर के उठना सीख लिया है, ज़रा जोर लगाना अगली बार, ये हुनर तो हमें खुदा ने दिया है। कुछ दिन पहले, सुन लो पूरा, कुछ दिन पहले आए थे तुम्हारे दोस्त यार, कुछ दिन रखा फिर बाइज्जत लौटा दिया है। कुछ दिन पहले आए थे तुम्हारे दोस्त यार, कुछ दिन रखा फिर बाइज्जत लौटा दिया है। मिले अगर कहीं वो तो पैगाम देना मेरा, अब अंगारे बिस्तर और सैलाब पिया है। ऐ मुश्किलो तुम्हें ज़रा देर हुई, अब तो गिर के उठना सीख लिया है." What I mean to say by this is that when you embark on your design thinking journey, you are going to fall, you are going to fail. You are going to fail. Just get up and walk again. You will reach the destination that you're looking at, be it life. So nowadays we are experimenting in KPMG a lot of how do you apply design thinking to lives of people. We are doing that as well. So you will reach the destination that you're looking at. Just get up and walk. And that's what I wanted to kind of convey in this 30-35 minutes of my talk. Thank you so much, guys. You have been a lovely audience. I loved it. And if you have any Q&A, I'm standing like this here. It's shown in the picture. Yes, if you have any questions, you can ask them. Otherwise, I am done. I'll be there and I'll be listening to the other panelists.
Hello.
Yep. Where are you? Just kind of raise your hand.
I'm here.
Yes.
It's not a question. It's adding value.
Yeah.
You'll find this is a really old wine in a new bottle. If you see the rural India, this is common. I just want to, the problem which you have mentioned is already addressed by a gentleman who's worth Magsaysay Award winner called Dr. Abhay Bang and Rani Bang. They have addressed this they have created the army of women. From the sector, I met him a couple of times, and he has addressed in a place called Gadchiroli, no power, Naxalite area. He was working John Hopkinson's without spending a single naya paisa. He's developed the people, and because of him, there's a great impact. If you go to the Naxalite area of this country, you will find more innovation, more empathy, and more design thinking than in metro cities.
Yes.
I have traveled across the country, and this is what happened. Design thinking is something we visualize in your mind. It is not only a brain, your mind must work. Your heart and brain should work together. That is design thinking, which our older generation used to do that. Today we don't. I just
Completely
like to add something more. Rather than a picture, can I have a words? I tell you, there's again for this benefit of this audience, I am from the Maharashtrian community. There's a writer called P.L. Deshpande. P.L. Deshpande used to portray a person without meeting him in words. He used to literally portray. That's called empathy. Literally the person was portrayed and you see these standing in front of you. That is a feeling of words. So words can be powerful. Even the picture can be provided you add what value you add with your heart. That's what I am to say. Thank you very much.
Done. Thank you so much. Yes. You done? More questions? Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
My name is Ashutosh. I have a question with the case which we just discussed about the students who came up with a solution for the portable incubator. So a lot of times what happens is that when entrepreneurs start up on a journey, they do the traditional way of things, problem recognition, understanding what could be the alternatives, weighing them, and then taking a decision onto what is to be done. But this is something which has been happening over a period of time. People do it all the time. But how do you, in this case, the challenge was if a normal person was to look at it, a layman, he would think that, there's no electricity available. We need to make an incubator which can be put up without electricity at the same place. But what the Harvard students did it, that they found a midway wherein they could create a portable thing so that it facilitates the traveling across cities. So how do organizations today, try to incorporate these things in their organizations, how they can look at things in a different way and not just to the point, but how can they get around that point and develop a solution for the same?
So if I understood your question right, first of all, the students were from Stanford, just to kind of correct you. So just to kind of look at how organizations are doing it. For the organizations who are really doing it, okay, and organizations like Amazon, organizations like GE, there are multiple such organizations who are kind of, who are embracing or who have embraced it in the true spirit. And a lot of banks as well nowadays, they've started on this journey. So one mistake that a lot of organizations are making, first I'll come to that, is that they have made design thinking as a part of their business excellence teams. That's what I have kind of seen. Business excellence, which used to run Six Sigma, which used to run Lean, which used to run all these kind of programs, they have put design thinking also on them, which is the biggest mistake that they are doing. And I feel that is that instead what they should be looking at is that the businesses, the people who are running businesses, if they can embrace the whole thought of design. Now, if I take the same thing, a traditional approach, and which a lot of startups also do today, is that you get a problem, you straight away get into the solution. Have you even tried to go and explore the problem somewhere where the actual problem is getting created from and understand there on the street? And most of the organizations do not do it, let me tell you. They fumble big time on that. And now organizations are setting up customer insights division and all these kind of things, who is just concentrating on citing these unstated challenges, which you a lot of times call latent needs as well, citing these challenges and then kind of developing solutions or prototyping solutions on that. But yes, organizations are on the journey. they will sometime reach. But the biggest challenge that I see is do not consider it as a part of your business excellence program. Instead, have it ingrained in your business thought itself. The business should be owning it and they should be kind of driving it day in, day out. Yes, I think that gentleman had a...
From KPMG.
Yeah.
If you can give one more example of how you have used design thinking and made some transformation in the KPMG.
I'll give you one example of the
performance appraisal, any other
process itself.
Two minutes on that. Or any.
The second one that we have done is, if I talk about almost till 1.5, 2 years back, if you looked at most of the communication that used to happen from KPMG, used to be, because KPMG ultimately as a genesis is an audit firm, if you all understand, and the mentalities of an audit firm, right? So most of the communication that used to happen was a lot written, and you would have pages and pages of documents going out as reports, as thought leaderships and things. If you now see the change happening, a lot of reports are visual. The length of the reports have kind of shortened, okay, and a lot of reports have storytelling elements into it. So that's another area where we have imbibed storytelling. The third, design thinking itself, in concept of design thinking. The third element that we have kind of brought a lot of design thinking is the way we approach our customers. The way we approach our customers. Okay guys, whosoever is from a consulting background, and in fact the faculties also, because you also do a lot of consulting, most of the times the consultant have the one mindset. The mindset is that whatever the customer asks for, I will be giving him whatever I have. You don't need to answer me, but reflect on yourself that what do you do whenever a customer comes up with a challenge. What we are now doing and what we have done to a certain extent is that all our consultants, all our, at least till the associate director levels, we have been imbibing these elements of empathy on some tools around how can you use empathy tools like empathy mapping, journey mapping, and multiple such tools that we experiment with your customers itself. How can you do a lot of co-creation with your customers? Another mindset I'll tell you that we are trying to break within KPMG is, because we are consultants, we are hired because people think we are experts. Yes? And a lot of times if we are not experts on that area, we struggle and we try to create something and take it to the customer. Guys, please understand that, and that's a mindset we're trying to break in KPMG itself, that co-create with the customer. He has his business knowledge much more than what we have. Bring him together, we know a method, we'll together deliver it. So that's another mindset that we are trying to break. So it's a slow journey that we have embarked on. Certain areas we have been able to progress to a certain level. Certain areas we are still kind of there. These are certain things that I can kind of share. Other things, I think we're doing a lot of experimentation, but as and when they kind of become successful, because we all talk about successes and we all successes. There are a lot of failures also that happen, but that's how it is, yeah.
Hi. My name is Amarkant. Two things. One, because we're sitting in the B school and a lot of students are really looking forward to have the insights from you. From a student's perspective, while they are embarking their journey to the corporate, from campus to corporate, they'll be in with too much of surprises when they come to the corporate world. It's a totally different world in the campus. So how do we as faculties or as an institute train them to not to be an expert in design thinking, but at least imbibe the philosophy of design thinking? So on a day-to-day basis, how can they inculcate in their thought process? And two, from entrepreneurs' perspective, there are quite a few of them over here as well. There's a thin line between jugaad, tukka. That's what we call design thinking in India. So how do you differentiate jugaad versus design thinking?
Jugaad is something. So I'll take the second one first, and then the
Sure.
first one second. If you look at jugaad, which has happened luck by chance, right? Design thinking gives you a structure towards moving towards jugaad. So basically, whatever you call is jugaad, but if you follow a proper structure and a method to kind of make you reach there, that's what design thinking is. Okay. Now coming to your second, and I was discussing this with Dr. Joita, that see, a lot of corporates are looking at students because they bring in a lot of fresh perspective. And corporates who have been thinking like banks, if I talk about, there are bankers who've been part of a bank for 20 years and they have been thinking only like a bank. But there are startups, there are startups who, it's fine. There are startups who are disrupting banks because they are kind of bringing in a completely different thought. So organizations are looking at it. Where I see a lot of fumbling happening is that when the students join the corporate, they lose that entire freshness. They become a part of the whole I don't know, what do you, monotony or whatever you say, they become a part of that. Wherein what we want is that keep your individuality and bring in that fresh perspective. And one more thing that I've suggested to Dr. Joyita is that next time whenever you do this kind of an event, this, I felt today in this institute when I came, there's a big divide between the students and, and us, if I tell you. We have been treated like we are Greek gods, and the students, I feel that it should be here. If you give that as a feel, when they come to the corporate, they will not feel that whatever they are saying, we have to follow that, rather than whatever we are, we have to also kind of make them think about those things. So building up that confidence. So next time whenever you do this kind of an event, along with the dignitaries, along with all the industry speakers, please have one of your students also kind of be a part of them. They will feel equal, and they will feel that we also have something which is doable, which is talkable. And why shouldn't the industry people learn from them? That's my thought.
Thank you so much.
We'll take one last one because I think the next panel is also waiting. I'll not want to eat up into their time.
Thank
yes.
you. Yeah, I have one, rather, no, it's not a question, but then, there is a lot of, resistance to this embrace, We suggested when my, sister-in-law's daughter delivered twins last year, and we had serious problem in meeting this challenge. They would not allow. Hospital simply would not allow, and they would say, well, mother is invited only to give the milk. That too under very, sanitary, what is that, what do you call that?
Hygiene.
All that, those factors they are taken into account, and then milk was drawn and then given under those incubator itself. Virtually for 2 months, they were in the hospital. And this was mentioned by us as well as my daughter-in-law that this works. Please try, because she is active in this, infant care and so on in Bangalore. And then she was here, and she suggested this very, very strongly, repeatedly, you see, but nothing worked. But then, once you are in the hospital, you are under the care of that doctor, and then and she is a very well-known, child specialist, so we have to follow that. And that's what happens. So breaking barrier is very important. That what you said at the rural level, Mofussil levels, yes, that's very true. There is a serious problem. Probably they cannot afford also. But in cases where they could afford this high-end treatment, probably, there is resistance and maybe half-heartedness on the part of parents and so on, you see. Now, how does one break this? This works. I have read quite a bit about this. I'm aware, and my family is aware. But then, the problem is how to make the hospital and the doctors.
Okay, so to tell you, I completely agree with what you're saying. Most of the times, whenever you're trying to bring new designs and new solutions, there is going to be a resistance that you're going to face from some or the other stakeholder who's there, right? But I think that's with every change that you would want to bring, some resistance will come in. I don't know how design thinking will be unique to only that resistance. How design thinking addresses it is that if you're able to tell stories to doctors who kind of can relate to it, whom you're able to touch here, I think that kind of breaks that. If you take again a classical Indian story itself, all of you have seen the movie Padman. How many of you have seen the movie Padman? Yes? For people who have not seen and you want to learn design thinking, go and watch Padman, guys. Go and watch Padman. You will see an entire design thinking story. He may not have named it like design thinking, but he also faced all the resistances. That Indian women are not okay talking to men about their hygiene needs. So there was a resistance there from the Indian women. He used to go and try and sell those sanitary napkins to the women in the villages. They were not wanting to talk to him. So what did he do? He created a social enterprise wherein he collected a set of women. He gave them the machine, which is worth 50,000 rupees today. And he said, you only manufacture, you only go and sell, and women are okay talking to women in terms of the hygiene needs. So there will be resistances. You have to create stories which kind of break that resistance and which can touch her. That would be there. Otherwise, you cannot, whatever change you want to bring, even if you want to bring one single change here itself in the institute, you will be facing resistances. We face day in, day out in KPMG. That mindset of expert to co-create, it's a big change that we are trying to bring. It's an aspirational change that we are trying to bring in a mindset who's kind of grown in the firm like experts. It'll be there.
Ajay, I have a question.
Yes.
So I wanted to know, how do you ensure that empathy doesn't become a process in time to come? Because every time we have uncertainty, people try to create a habit out of it and make it into a process. So till the time it becomes one, it's something that's customized for each person. How do you ensure that it stays the same and it doesn't become one of the many processes to do?
Okay, so how are we doing it at KPMG is what I can tell you. Is that we keep doing a lot of these experiments, like this one that we talked about, the picture and this thing. This is an experiment that we created only for the performance in this discussion. So we take, and that's one thing that I would want to suggest, that a lot of times people come and say that my work is very monotonous, it's a process that has happened. You know guys, what I feel is your work is not monotonous, your life has become monotonous. Because you've got into habits of things and you're doing it day in, day out, that's what is creating the monotony. The first thing is break those habits. So unhabit is the new habit is what I would want to say. So whenever you're talking about this empathy part itself, introduce newer elements for different situations. You will see people will not be able to say that iske liye yahi karna padega, and that's where the process thing comes in. Introduce newer ways to do it in different situations and you will see people will not be able to frame that process kind of a thing. If you're not able, if you do not make people frame it like we call horses have this blind here. If you kind of break that through different ways that you're delivering empathy, I think you're done.
Thank you. Sir, I have a question.
You can call me Ajay, whoever is asking.
Your last row.
Last row.
Here. So with every process, there are certain inherent limitations. What according to you would be a limitation to design thinking? Keeping creativity aside. Or lack of
Creativity is not a limitation.
Or lack of it.
Okay, let me tell you the biggest limitation that I see in organizations. Okay, let me tell you that. The biggest limitation that I've seen with organizations, not with the method. While method will definitely have some of, like one of the things that I say, a lot of people are kind of looking out for something कि यार हम लोग ये steps follow करें और हम लोग वहाँ पहुँच जाएंगे अपना. ये हम लोग ये we will do this, we will do this, we will do this, and we'll reach there. Leaving the method aside, I'll tell you what organizations are kind of the biggest hindrance that I see is the appetite to take risks. That is the biggest hindrance that I see with organizations. Like the way I said when I first took this idea to KPMG, what they told me is that we already have a design team who is doing poster design, PPT design, what will you bring differently? I took it as that experimentation in the organization and people's ability to take that risk and take that plunge is the biggest challenge that I see with, not with the method, but with why design thinking is facing challenges when it goes to, and to tell you guys, design thinking in India, if I talk about, this is not the first wave of design thinking. Please understand, the first wave of design thinking in India happened in 2000s, early 2000s. But India rejected it. Organizations, apart from barring 2 or 3 organizations, a lot of organizations rejected it, saying that this doesn't work. The reason was not because the method did not work. It's a method. Yeah? If you kind of imbibe certain things out of it, it will work. It will give you some results. But the appetite to experimentation, to kind of prototype and say that if you are failing, we will not punish you for failing, rather than we will celebrate that failure. All these things kind of become hindrances to the entire method itself, which might happen with any creative method. But that's what I think where design thinking, if it fails, that's where it will fail in organizations. Yes? I think thank you guys. There's one more. There's one more. We'll take the gentleman's question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would like to introduce myself before I put my point.
Yes.
My name is Alok Kumar Kasliwal. I'm the owner of S. Kumar's Group, Reed and Taylor. I'm also promoter of a startup, HelloHelpMe.com. I repeat, HelloHelpMe.com. Now the thing is, I have started this concept with a very different idea. This is a concept which I've already discussed with a lot of politicians and industrialists and businessmen and celebrity. The things are going on. The thing is, the Hello Help Me concept is to help all the people sitting over here. Students, businessmen, industrialists, corporate, beggar, billionaires, whoever, whatever, you know. Anyone who wants a girlfriend or a boyfriend, anyone who wants money, funds, anyone who wants whatever. Now the thing is, the concept is to help people, like even any common man on the road, he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where to go when he wants help. She doesn't know where to go what help she wants. Or, you know, she wants capital, money, this and that, relationship problem, etc. Now, this concept is, you can approach our center, which is coming up shortly, and you can take any help you want, whether job, matrimonial, this and that. The thing is, I'm coming to the point now, the people are so deceptive about this concept, they are, when I tell them, do you want help, ma'am? She has those questions in her mind, why this guy wants to help me? When I ask the gentleman over here, you want help? He says, who are you, why you want to help me? We want to help genuinely, not only help, but we want you to get rid of your problem very seriously. Even Narendra Modi has a problem, and even the beggar on the street has a problem, Vijaypal Singhania has a problem. Where they go to? So they can go to the Hello LP centers which are coming up. The only point is people are receptive and deceptive. Why?
Okay, so two things I'll tell you from what I can kind of, while I would not have all the information right now, but what I think is that a lot of times people are not okay talking about their challenges, their problems, their issues, which are a lot personal to them, right? So, somewhere maybe that's one of the things that I may see as a hindrance when you're kind of going that route, which is a very noble cause that you're trying to get into. So that may be one of the hindrances.
Psychological, you can say.
Yes, so how do you kind of bring those people, so while this is the platform that you've created, but how do you bring those people to start sharing these kind of stories? I was talking to someone in KPMG, I think 2 days back. The person has gone through a really traumatic times during her childhood days and all. So we are doing an event in the part of our design thing, this thing of failure stories. Okay, and I said that why don't you come and share your story? She said it's too personal to me. I don't want to share it. I don't want to talk about it. So if you look at it, these are small, and these are the things that I talk about empathy. When you are actually moving to this level of challenge, you will be able to get out different solutions. While the platform will remain, but how to sell the platform, how to kind of bring people on the platform is where you will have to kind of then think about that. If this is the challenge, people don't want to talk about their personal stories, how do we make them talk about their personal stories? So I think that's one thing that I would want to kind of look at, that why don't people, what is the insecurity that they go through when they, or what is the journey that they go through when they share these kind of stories? And if I can kind of communicate this to them, that if you communicate something here, and this happens in corporates also. We have counselor helplines in corporates. Counselor helplines in corporates, wherein if you have gone through a trauma, any kind of mental trauma, you can come and talk to people who are counselors here. But do people go and talk to the counselors? The answer is no. The usage of that helpline is almost negligible in corporates. The reason behind, as soon as you say that I have to go to a counselor, people start treating you as mad. It's मेरे घर पे भी होता है कि अगर बोला है काउंसलर का हेल्प चाहिए तो बोलता पागल हो गया क्या? So this is the kind of thing that you will have to catch, that what is that pulse which is kind of pushing people down to not accept it or no, to not kind of use it. And yeah, that's what empathy will bring in. Yeah, I do understand. I would like to further continue. I have also started a concept, Meri Life Story. Meri Life Story. Again, it's a startup. Probably it will be up in another 1 month's time. People are absolutely again deceptive about the same thing to give their story. Though many people have approached me, but out of the 133 crore people in India, about only 15-20 people approaching, it doesn't matter at all. But definitely I would like to break the ice, and this is what I'm doing. I'm approaching Vijaypal Singhania, he's my good friend. All top people in India are my good friend. In fact, I'm talking to Uddhav Thackeray also. Okay, why don't you put your story on our Meri Life Story? So thank you very much. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much.